so I have enough time to not have to stay here in the cave. I can go further out. Interesting. The roars of the sea reach you first, in the cold wind and the light. There are hardly any shrubs nearby, and as you ride downhill toward the white and gold beach, the sunbeam hits you with full force. There's no doubt where the name of Gale Rocks comes from. The stones piercing through the surface of the water are shaped like beast fangs, as if they're asking the ships to dare to test their strength. Where it's possible, I keep to the greener parts of the beach. Sand is awful for hooves. You follow the sharp turn to right. The road remains broad enough for carts and wagons and avoids the sands laden magenta trot without disturbances. Grasses to the east are shortened. To the east and south are short, and hardly any shrubs have managed to oppose the harsh winds. The human activity you witness is intense. A large barge is resting on the river, immobilized by the ropes and wooden posts, and you see a few people foraging at the beach and in the grasses. Even more people, most of them without wrinkles, are gathered at the pier, where they prepare their boats and nests, and talk about their plans for the following hours. You reach the end of the beaten path, getting to the stone-made pier next to the small dolmen-shaped shed. All the doors seem to be fairly new. Only the door seems to be fairly new, and you don't doubt that both of the structures have been repaired many times in the past, crumbling under the touch of the waves. Head to the fishers. You approach a group of workers standing in front of the shed. Potheos is here, one of them tells you, and points at the tallest man, dressed in undyed woolen linen. He's discussing something with the group of workers, but as you head in this direction, he nods for you to join him on the side. His outfit is heavy, appropriately so for someone who spends long hours in the hits of the cold onshore winds. The massive leather boots, thick tunic and pants, and a heavy cloak, now held under his arm, make you wonder if he'd even be able to swim. Like most sea folk, he has long limbs, almost no facial hair, and ears so flat they are hardly noticeable. His neck draws your eyes. It's covered with marks left by the burning suckers of a sea monster, as wide as your finger is long. Below these scars, he's wearing a pendant made of fist-sized black beak. He speaks first, with the strong and confident voice of a young man, older than 25. Well, we don't really sell to catch on our own. Maybe ask the smokers or the cook. That's fine, I was hoping to speak with you. Who are you exactly? You introduce yourself, the man raises a corner of his mouth in an angry grimace. I don't have much to tell you, Roadwarden. Like my neighbors, he looks at the nearby fishers, I struggle with day-to-day living. I do not adventures, and even less so outsiders' schemes. What makes you think I'm scheming? I'm just here looking for work. Work? What do you know about fishing? You mentioned the docks of Hobgoblin. After a few questions about fishing nets, boats, and winds, clear you don't impress in this conversation. Teaching one how to work with us takes time, effort, and rescuing those who fell overboard. You ain't a kid of ours, so if anything, it should be you who pays us for sharing what our forebears and a master. You explain that you can fight better than most, and what gives him an idea. Our guards stay at the village, so we always move in groups, and waste time securing the beach from harpies and saurians, we do. We could put 3 more souls in the boat and keep you on the beach. And guard those not fishing with nets. Alright, so what's the pay like? How much you want, stranger? He responds carefully, and you put a few minutes discussing the details. Right, you'll get a meal and 2 coins for a peaceful day. Another one for putting your life at risk, he summarizes. But you must be at the beach soon after dawn while we're preparing for our boats. And have enough strength to convince me you'll be more of a help than a bother. I appreciate that. I'm sure you'll need help with something that would fit my skills. So many hours on the road. Alright, anything else while I'm out on the road? Gives you a long look. You know what, outsider? There's something you could do for me, but you can't really ruin it by trying. I need you to help my daughter, Phoebe. Seeing your look, he raises his hand. Don't worry, she's fine. Really spellless. For generations, my family used Numa to lure fish and hold our breaths. But no matter how much she practices, she can't cast even the tiniest spell. There's something wrong with her soul. He pauses, and his voice grows pained. She's my only child, and I seek no new wife. I want her to have the choice to do whatever she wants. And it breaks me to think she won't have a way to follow in my footsteps. I don't really know how I can help you with that. His eyes are absent. A few years ago, our traders were at the home of this weird enchantress by the Eastern Road. I don't know her name. She lives close to the old warehouse. You can't miss it. She's alive. She may still have the weird rocks. You know, this sounds like a really unusual healing attempt. Are you sure you want to try this? I've asked the sorcerers about what they felt when they used the stones. Their Numa got stronger than on most days, and nothing bad happened to them. We risk nothing, outsider. He says with growing irritation and stops himself from scratching the scars on his neck. Wait, no. No. I remember now. I asked the enchantress. This is a bad idea. You will die. If you ask any herbalist, though, maybe a priest or another enchanter, have you heard about the previous Roadwarden, Sterion? You nod. In spring, I sent him to one of the greatest mages in Peninsula, some druid, I think, and that old prick told me there was nothing he could do. You hear that? And I had paid the messenger to learn this. He squeezed his cloak even tighter to his side. We have no herbalist here, but since the spirit rocks are safe, I'd rather spend my last coins for such a chance than try nothing and regret it. I think what you're asking may be risky. Why would it be? No one has ever been hurt by the previous stones. Well, I talked to this enchantress. Eudicia herself told me the stone will likely kill any shell that can hold the stone's Numa. How do you not take the hint? His face turns pale. She said this? After he clears his throat, he squeezes the monster's beak on his chest and his courage returns. Then you've spoken with her and you know she's crazy. Instead of shadowing people, just bring me what I'm paying you for. Are you insane? No, I'm not bringing you that. I'm not gonna help you kill your daughter. I don't even want to talk to you anymore, man. It's crazy. I have time to get the foggies. I do have time to get the foggies. Alright. I'll go stay there. Actually, we won't. Because staying at Foggy sucks. I guess it sucks here too. Fine. After Fulvia blows out the candles without considering if you're ready for it, you are in complete darkness and you only now realize how quiet this room is. The thick walls block the humming of the wind, birds, and river. The keeper heads to her own room, and you occasionally hear the whispers of snores of other dwellers. My imagination sculpts terrifying creatures in darkness, and it takes me a while before I calm down. Now, there's plenty of creatures outside of my imagination that are already terrifying. I think I've gotten so used to sleeping among monsters. I grow anxious as I focus on my breath and on the beating of my heart. It's too quiet. You're surrounded by darkness. You quickly gather your things and leave the room without word from the keeper, who's sitting outside next to the open door. The village is hurriedly preparing for a busy day. The workers gather the wagons at the gates, push the barrels onto the barge, move equipment out of the sheds, shove meals into their bags. The alleys aren't much calmer. The overseers are waking up their crews and discussing their goals and plans. The only soul that can afford a longer rest are the children and the elderly. The locals avoid your eyes. You swear you are watched wherever you go. It's probably Petronius. I wonder if Severino would see me now. You ascend the hill. The guard stands up and puts his woodwork on his pillow, then asks you to wait. You hear his and the head of women's voices coming from the hall, and once the man returns, he nods gently. Rest in, or follow him inside. So Severina puts away her writing instruments, glancing at you, then frowns. The closer you get, the more annoyed she seems to be, but says nothing. I need to have stronger evidence before I confront her about collaboration with the bandits. She doesn't trust me enough to give me any work. I believe something awful happened to the village in the distant south, to one turned to ruins. Did you tell me anything about it? A polite smile crossed her lips. All her violet eyes remained firm. I'd rather not talk about it, alright. After a moment of hesitation, she continues but slowly. A few of the hurt families are still with us, and we agreed to leave it to them if they were to seek retribution. Retribution? Against the herd? Families? Oh, maybe Petronius knows. Something's changed. He seems to be nowhere in sight. Once you find him, his usual confidence is gone. As he leads you away from the others, he stares at the ground and some of his neighbors scowl at you. There's a rumor that I'm spying for an outsider. An awkward pause. Better get back to your beast. Your spelling name will drop on both of us, it will. I don't care. Wouldn't pay you one dragon coin right away. Take it or leave it. Looks at your hand and sighs. Fine. To the orchard we go. Who in the village can sell me some decent equipment? Fulvia isn't just any elder, am I right? You are. She spent most of her young days and even some of the nights on the roads, chiefly on the path leading through the heart of the woods. She never got wounded, yet with years her eyes gave up. The Rife laughs when he feels safe. Well, that was all my coin. Fisher? Yeah, you need any help fishing today? I'm not gonna give you that spirit rock, but I can help you fish. Securing the coast. You'll keep an eye on the caught fish, equipping and arresting fishers. This task will take you an entire day and make it dangerous. Dang, only 2. So is Cassia working with you often? His eyes narrow. I used to, now I don't. Such a things. She's a annoying lass, but that's about it. Alright then. Well, that's great. 2 coins. It would cost 2 to sleep in here. Oh, my fish are probably... How much time do I have? 3 hours and 30 minutes. I don't have time to go here and here. Oh, I can go here. Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing, to get the fish. If there are any fish. Still empty. Interesting. Okay, Foggies it is. Ah, fine. it off too. So I wanted to make my rounds. Go to journal. Alright, we need spirit rocks, but I'm out of coin. Man from White Marshes handed me a wax tablet. Oh, that's right. Okay. I guess I'll go there, but I think I need... do have a ration. So wild plants. Let's see if that's enough to get a friend to open up. Path to White Marshes. Peat Fields. Tell him about Phelan's situation. Who's Phelan again? Is he the guy? Where is it? Read the letter. Yeah, Phelan. Phelan's husband. Tell him about Phelan's situation. I don't know if he'll care. He stares in the distance toward the village. Poor thing. A fair soul with too much patience. But nothing's I can do. After you ask him for advice, he spits on the ground. Lie, I guess. Orinthius already did. Won't be happy with you causing pain to his people. And Helvius neither. Unless the hunter was lying too. Oh, so he did ask Orinthius. Then he knows that Orinthius is lying. That's why he asked me afterwards. I can't tell him that. This man living Gale Rocks who tries to heal his... There is. The warlock cuts in right after you mention Inducia's rock. Whatever it is, there's no way anyone other than a real prophet would help that girl. Numa's weak in my tribe, you know. Myself, I'm gifted, yep. I had no teachers here. He shrugs his arms, making the creepers bend upward. Took the pagan priest from Hallisdale to help me twist more than a twig. There was a way to put Numa in shells for good. People had killed to find it. Really? I always thought you were a prodigy. So how'd it go? Your parents? He steps away, raising his eyes, but can't mask the pain in his voice. It didn't. They didn't take it. Told me to take it with me. Into my pie. They're in White Marshes? They're okay with all this necromancy and they're not okay with you being you? Tell me you're wardening the bogs because you wanted to do so. You refuse to accept the new order of things, these necromantic practices. He sits down on the bench. Do I care who made me leave the walls? Orinthus didn't want me there, but I didn't want to stay. To stop him now, you need a band. And I'll tear off your head sooner than I'd bring a threat to my tribe. You reach toward your blade, but the creepers remain idle. You're stepping into a tree's branch. Seeing your frown, he continues. The grasp gets tighter the more you move, you see. Forget it. He waves it off. Why do you care about any of that? Let my people choose their path. The dead deserve to rest, they're being enslaved. The undead will turn dangerous, we just don't know when. Tries becoming an outcast, who no merchants want to trade with necromancers. Come on, Tyrus. You know just as well as I do, this is wrong. Yeah. See, I thought you were distant. Different, but you're just as human as anyone else. He huffs. I've had enough people who do what they feel like doing. Are your wits that shallow? But I want my tribe's safety, and the undead are dangerous. 'Tis why I argued with Orinthius. but this means not a thing to him. He scowls at you. What's your plan once you get to him? I think for a moment before I speak, whatever necessary to make him stop. I'll talk to him, help him realize he's wrong. Yeah, I want to learn what pushes him to do this. He must have his reasons. Everyone does. Once you find that out, help them on their way. They'll leave things well enough alone. He freezes as he barely understands what you mean. Huh. This may be a good first step. But then he needs some persuading, and I won't be as easy as you think. He gives you a warm look, and stands up slowly and looks at the clouds. All I can do is find a way to let you into his house, and you'll be one chance if you can convince me you're to be trusted. Pat my bones. Do I have anything that could convince you? Licks his lips and looks away. I'd rather not look. Fair. I guess we'll turn to this later. Oh, right. I bring a message from your old teacher. He listens to it without a word and reaches for one of his bracelets, playing with the wooden beads. He grunts a few times and his eyes grow absent. I was happy when I got there, you know. I'm not a loafer. Was ready to learn all the ways. Back then, Priest Orinthia saw any spells coming from Pegasus as disgusting in Wright's eyes. His tone swings between mocking and begrudging. But I let go, and the others outvoted him. Those were very different days. Really? Disgusting in Wright's eyes. That may help. If he once believed that, maybe we can use that to convince him that all of this is wrong. You may want to have a chat with the old druid, especially before we try this whole beholder ritual. Trying to repeat the hermit's words, but coming from your lips, they sound awkward, preachy, and they bounce off the warlock without leaving any visible dent. Mayhap, 'tis far away. We'll think about it. Well, if you need a escort, though I doubt you do. You know anything about Asterian's whereabouts? Did I ask you this already? He raises his chin. Know what? I may. His amulets rattle after his triumphant announcement, but then he looks at the clouds in the distance, for him to carry on to no avail. So, what do you want? He flinches. Huh? No, not a thing. He shifts from foot to foot. Well, I was just thinking, this all. Oh. Okay, well, where is he then? Well, not at my place, 'tis for sure. To prove his point, he raises one of his creepers and opens the door. Though from where you're sitting, you see most of the cold fireplace and the darkness behind it. Well, yeah, I know that much. But you do have an idea of where I can look for him. I mean, I have an idea where I can look for him, but I need confirmation before I go trying to find some mountain tribe. Yep, at a monster's lair, most likely. What do you mean by that? Metaphorically or literally? You alright? Great, very helpful. Any monster in particular? Stop treating me like an idiot, tell me what you know. Yeah, any monster in particular? Looks away, then reaches for one of his branches. He asked me for help, but Manny was heading for a journey, he said. Needed bogey bombs to scare animals away. Push him a bit, but he doesn't have to think long, as if these questions been bothering him for the entire season. Weirdest ones were for the harpies, and he wanted ones for sea monsters, but I've no such thing. I can poison the sea. As he thinks what to make of all of it, he starts to tap his toes, taking a deep breath. There's a huntress living in Pelvin North, this inn in the southern road, Dalit. Sterion said she knows wild beasts like no other soul, so he was prepared for them anyway. What's Dalit have to do with this? Hold on. Stereon wanted help with harpies and sea monsters. So what do you think of him? He stands with an open mouth as if he's not sure what you mean by that. Don't? Left me with a heavier pouch, but asked nosy questions like someone else I know. Gives you a telling look. I have no idea who you're talking about. Is he your client or do you share a goal? Crosses his arms, making the creepers hit his amulets. Never had a witch or warlock at home. 'Tis wrong for me to speak for others. I'll take on my pile a lot of shame and doubt, and I need to be trusted. Understand these questions annoy you, but you know I wouldn't ask them without a good reason. You have more in common with him than you admit. People claim that he and your tribe were planning something big. Now let's twist this. He rolls his eyes, shrugging his arms and showing his empty palms, yet the nervous twitches of the creepers add little to his innocent demeanor. He and I traded a few times, but I didn't bed with him or offer him mint in the stew. He said he may have a job for me in the woods, and I told him I don't need his bones anymore. When asked what he did need, Tirsus purses his lips. I wanted things to change, says all. I woke up to awoken shells in the fogs and Glacier's robbers threatening my family. All I want's for this cursed land to be normal. His yawn comes out of nowhere, but you then notice his dropped shoulder and heavy eyelids. And yup, Roadwarden told me he's going to take care of it. Glacier's robbers threaten your family. He was going to find a way to get rid of all the awoken shells. It's settled. I think I need to talk to Erinthius. He must have, according to the rumors, Asterion has traveled to some unknown island. As someone who knows a lot about these lands. Maybe Foggy? Let's say I were to help your people with the bandits and got rid of the undead. Would you return the favor? Stares at you with a little grin. 'Tis all you say? Yep. Say the north, for the scrap of it I care about, and I'll follow you into a fog. In my debt, unless I weaken the bandits and get rid of the undead in the village. Alright, well I need you to open the path to White Marshes. Maybe I should go in with more coin. I'll be back. I'm just gonna make more coin. Find places for these rods. Maybe I'll go ask Foggy. The forest garden. Any scavenger for stuff around here? No, there's not. How much left? There's some insects here I can't take care of unless I can afford one of his potions. Alright, so I'll go over here to Foggy's. Island. There are more of them than you can count, dear. And there are more of them than you can count, dear. There are more of them than you can count, dear. Most of them too small for a tree to take root. Strange tribes live on the larger ones, in the east and west.
Here the rocks don't stop any ships, boats even. High Island may be big and rich, but its volcano is too much of a threat for any settlers.
High Island. High Island? Feelings form, but a voice seems to be incapable of a whisper.
You don't plan to swim there, do you? You won't get there without a boat, and with a boat, it's still a dice roll. There's always a drunk or two in rocks and howlers who says they've been there, but it's all rubbish. They hardly touch the island's walls.
Howlers and rocks. Some folks from Howlers and Rocks say they've been there. Try to pressure a bit, but don't learn much. She claims that it's high above the sea, on top of a wall-like steep cliff, and a rope may not be enough for one to get to the top. Maybe a grappling hook? From time to time, a pillar of smoke flies out of the volcano in the center of the island.
The whole place is green with animals as great as dragons. Could it store treasures like the folks say? Maybe, but no soul knows where to look for them. For all I know, some child started a tale and played with everyone's desperate dreams.
Now to play with my desperate dreams. We'll try to remember. Maybe there's someone you know who's been to High Island. Even a drunk. Scratches her knee.
How could I, dear? It's such a dangerous place, and there are folks would be upset with those reaching it without their permission.
Bam. The Forbidden Island. You found enough clues to believe that Asterion has traveled to High Island, northwest of the peninsula, has been seen ever since. So far, you know almost nothing about this place. It's the first I've heard of it. Alright, we got one of the rods in here. Alright, so we tried going through the old tunnel. Guess it wouldn't catch you by surprise and a shiver runs down your spine. A small, creamy brown critter jumps among the rocks, giving you worried looks. Time to see what hides inside. I grab my lantern. I place a candle on the ground and light it up with a few sparks from your tinderbox. You shove it inside the lantern through the hole in its top, pressing it onto a small nail. You shake it for a bit, making sure it'll stay standing. The candle isn't as bright as your torch, but it's safer, and lasts longer, and can easily be replaced by another one. Into the candle. Into the tunnel. The road ahead is like the one you just crossed. A human-carved straight corridor supported by beams, while the other paths are curved and narrow. The only light comes from the exit, minutes away from here. Okay, well, I'll look around. The remains of prey and fruit are rotting, but get sparser deeper into the tunnel. The moist walls are thinning, or shining, as if they're made of an ore unknown to human tribes. You observe the dried trails. The ones left by boots lead toward both corridors. The path to your right also has marks left by hooves and wheels. Some of the fresher trails leading deeper into the tunnel resemble human souls, but deformed, lacking skin between their toes. Interesting. Eastman. Move forward. You forge ahead for another few long minutes, no longer able to see the light from the exit. You need to stand on someone's shoulder to touch the ceiling. So far, you could ride through the tunnel without getting much out of the saddle. The sound of stream is reaching from ahead this time. There are no side paths. Examine the tunnel. Spend a few minutes walking back and forth. Here, the wooden support is denser, with more beams, both on the walls and on the ceiling. The trash, on the other hand, is sparse, and you find nothing of use. The animal trails turn back to the entrance, with the exception of the human-like bony prints. So these are where the bony prints leave. And the trails go back. If I go to the crossroads, let's say I move right. Corridors along the others, taller and more rounded, with claw marks on the walls. It leads you to a chamber with the ceiling supported by a single beam. There's also an abandoned cart, the fence of an animal pen, and a few long sticks and planks. You take a glance at the new exit. It leads slightly upward and looks a bit like stairs. Huh. Okay. Search the room. You find no caches or boxes, and the cart is empty. The one thing that draws your attention are the planks and logs themselves. They're in decent shape, flexible, and too moist to be worth carrying out of the cave. They could be turned into a new door, or maybe a new table. I know someone who could use that. Climb up the stairs. You flinch after the light touches the resting bone, but nothing tries to jump at you. You hear no shuffling feet. You step forward and take a closer look at the remains of the massive creature. It used to be 2 times as long as your pelfrey. 3 if you were count the hind legs. It resembles a bear, but its skull has no sharp teeth. It's of a different shape. Take a closer look at the skeleton. The ribs of the creature are as long as your own trunk, though the age makes them brittle. You observe the long legs, horse-like head, and the massive stomach. You can't tell if you've ever seen such a beast alive, but surely not as trophies. The part that's uniquely sharp are the creature's claws. It could pierce 2 sides of your skull at once, as curved as a war pick and as heavy as an axe. And the marks on the walls perfectly match them. While impressive, they're too old and awkward to be turned into tools. Damn. Okay. That's interesting. Let's leave the chamber. To my left. The air in the chamber is humid. The straw beds are covered with mold. The sagging racks are bending under their own weight, and the animal pelts on the floor release a horrible stench. Okay. I'll take my time. It's just some bad smell, I can handle it. Using an old walking stick, you push the furs and mattresses aside, and you spare your gloves from touching the sticky odds and ends by wrapping them with a cloth. You find only one thing of value, hidden in a rare dry bowl pushed to the side of a shelf. A tiny ring made of bone, not a coin, but a piece of jewelry, still elegant, with a distinguished carving of a fish on its top and scales on its side. Huh. I know a jewelry maker. Maybe she can help. Alright, guess we're moving forward. The stream has formed a wide pond. You stab it a few spots, but it turns out to be only a finger or 2 deep. There's no sign of a bridge. You crouch and take a closer look at the water. It's clean, but the dark rocks and the lack of light camouflages soft, sand-like bed. You find a few fish bones and other remnants, but with every step, you disturb the sediment, further clouding the water. The water flows from your right to your left. This trail is wide enough to follow, at least for a few steps, and so tall you can do so without crouching. And let's follow the water. The corridors become less spacious after just a few steps, but you manage to take a good look around. Moving both with and against the flow, the wet walls are home to worms, mold, and what looks like pale spiders, but with only 6 legs. Among the commotion, you spot a cave ear sticking out of the wall. A familiar, though unfriendly mushroom, the creamy color distorted by your light. You grab your knife and cut away what seems like the least bug-infested chunk. After wrapping it with a linen sheet, you wash your hands. Cave ear is used by some fighters to enhance their senses in combat. You may want to take it to an alchemist. Oh, I know an alchemist. Maybe the monastery? Either way, let's move forward. The open door to your right leads to a narrow chamber. You take a look further down the tunnel. A cave-in broke the timber, blocking the path forward. Damn. Take a closer look at the cave-in. Push away a few rocks, making them roll on the floor, but the blockade is at least a few steps deep. Take an entire team of diggers to get through, if it's possible at all. You climb up a bit, peek through a large hole close to the ceiling. There's a weak light coming from the distant end of the tunnel. So an exit. Okay. Step away. What the door? It squeaks. The corridor resembles the interiors of a fortress. Flat, regular walls and a ceiling so low you can ride through it. You reach another, much larger chamber, which seems to mimic the corridor style. Enter it. The spoiled food and moldy planks make you hold your breath. The chamber used to serve as a dining spot with tables, chairs, shelves for mugs, and barrels of drink, but all that's left are worms and mustiness. You don't see the furthest wall until you bring your light closer. The open door leads to a new natural cavern. Another closed door is in the corner of the room opposite the one you came from. Okay, well, I guess I'll search the disgusting chamber. The place was abandoned in haste, but you find no signs of large creatures, bones, or destruction. The wood gives way only to time. A few of the barrels still contain liquid, so you wouldn't dare open them. Close the exit leading to a cave. You find a hook with a simple iron key. Pick it up and it stains your hand with rust. Key, huh? But open the door in the corner. There's two doors. Door gives way. The next room is also too large for your light to reach all the corners at once. The empty shelves, chests, and spear racks give you no promise of a hidden treasure. But you also find a box with rusty nails, a cracked barrel in the corner, and a broken blade. You could spend some time collecting these and other iron scraps and sell them in a village. You could use the coin. In the room's corner, you notice a wide sheet of moldy fabric that covers a large part of the wall. Examine the curtain. It's divided in the center, allowing you to draw it. Behind it, you find a tiny room, maybe 2 steps wide and 3 steps deep. It's not silent. Silent, not as human. The wall ahead isn't like the others. It's covered with red and purple bricks. It's paved over. Printing unusual. The walls to your left and right bear a few iron hooks that could be used to hang cloaks, paintings, or trophies. The corners aren't too dusty and there are no footprints on the floor. You inspect the brick wall further. In its center, at chest high, you notice a distinctive engraving. It's a winged hourglass about a finger long. By the Rife. Match the shape of the hourglass with the pendant I own. It's a match. You fit into its grooves, then press. The bricks move deeper inside, then bounces back, allowing you to draw it out completely. In the secret compartment, you find a key made of bronze. It's as large as your forearm. What's this? Well, you have some time. Having no useful tools at hand, you struggle to dismantle the barrel and cut away all the bits of wood that are attached to the pieces of iron and steel. After a long while, you prepare a decent clanging sack. For now, you move it to the dining chamber and leave it by the exit. Okay, let's return to the tiny room. Oh, not that room. I leave the room. Walk through the ajar door. No. Back to the armory. Main tunnel. No, I guess it is the ajar door. The cave is so moist that the diggers placed planks on the ground, serving as a now useless bridge through the puddles. The rocks, shaped like icicles, almost hang from the ceiling, in some spots merging with their on-the-floor counterparts and forming hourglass-like columns. Someone who fears the right was here and wanted to keep this key a secret. Search the chamber, try to open the door. Search the chamber. You leave the rotten planks and explore the cavern carefully, making the light dance and the droplets and puddles, but you find nothing of use or value. Try to open the door. The door opens quietly and return to the main tunnel. You You could turn south again and see if there's anything you missed. But after you blink a few times, you realize there's a light at the opposite end of the tunnel, far ahead. It's weak and it flickers like a torch. It's not light. So that's what I was seeing from this end. Yeah. I hide my own light. Wait. Head south in the direction I came. You reach the other side of the cave in, getting a good view at its size. You find a new door here. It's a bit tilted, closed, and soggy. Is it open? The small iron padlock won't budge. What about this key? Bit of wriggling, the padlock gives in, the door lets out a sigh, and you enter a humble cave that's been turned into a storeroom. Your light reveals crates, a pile of timbers, a stack of rocks, and another of bricks. Okay, is there anything in here? You move the building materials aside, taking note of someone dry timber, but the first thing of use you find are the tools stored in one of the crates. The crude axes, hammers, chisels, and pickaxes and digging bars are all old and made of rocks, antlers, and bones. Though they're worthless, you may find you move a few of them closer to the tunnel. If necessary, you'll know where to find them. Axes, hammers, chisels, pickaxes. Okay. And walk outside. Enter the turn to the crossroads. Ah. Hide my own light. You simply put it on the ground, the entrance to the cavern with the stalactites. You'll pick it up if you need it. Alright, let's try moving in. And down. I mean, there was bony prints, weren't there? I don't see any on the ground now. Put away your light and sneak forward. You pay attention to sounds and movements, but there's no crackling of a campfire, no wandering or chatter. You see a shape of a gate far in the distance. You look for anything unusual? Though you do so in almost complete darkness, you notice something blocking your foot. You crouch and touch the long cord stretched right above the ground. In a few spots holding pieces of wood and bone that are meant to make a sound if disrupted. You cut it carefully, putting the remains of the trap on the floor. Perhaps someone is here. I try to get close to see who's responsible for the light. Slowly but surely, you reach the edge of the light, but don't dare to get any closer. Distinctive shadows belong to unmoving human-like shadows that have no flesh on their necks and chests, only the bones. Move back. There may be 3 undead there, if not more. You could prepare some surprise in the tunnel to slow them down, or even weaken them, but who knows how easy it'd be to outsmart them. Better speak with someone who knows how to set traps. I don't know, just a kid. But why are the dead here? In a tunnel. With a key hidden behind the Rife symbol. Why did the dead set up a trap? Maybe a necromancer's hiding out here? Okay. Well, it's getting dark. Put my hands around my mouth and let out a shout. No, I'm not doing that. Go back to the crossroads. Go back to Magenta. Alright, if I seek shelter, closest is Foggy Lake. Why's it gotta be Foggy Lake? It's a tavern. No offense, Foggy, but it's not exactly a pleasure to sleep here. Ah. Fine, I'll pay rent. Time for me to go. What I need to do is make some coin. Let's go to Creek, see if they need anything. If they're a spare, look around, see if any locals need protection on the roads. Okay, go to the creek, wash up. Alright, Soshi. She's preparing for work but is ready to give you a few moments. Tell her about Marina from Gale Rocks. Well, well, you found quite the someone, friend, and I've heard a lot of good things about her home. But this rife talk makes me worried. Are you sure she'll be ready to keep our bonds loose? Seeing her shrug, she sighs. Tell her about me, don't hide my plans. Just speak of me kindly, she laughs. If she wants to have fun with me, I'll make her life warmer. And I love kids. For the first time, her smile becomes humble and kind instead of playful. Well, I just don't think she's... I don't think she's there for loose bonds, if I'm being honest. And I guess it's not meant to be. She shakes her head with disappointment. Glad you opened this chance for me, friend, but there are parts of me I'm not willing to change. Still, I'll make sure the tribe hears about your help. She suddenly raises her axe and shouts, Hey yo! She addresses no one in particular, but her powerful voice makes everyone stop. Let her do me a big favor, eh? Be nice! A few people smile to scoff and life goes on. Okay, well, I didn't think you were gonna do that. And if you want to help bring Marina in my answer, she rests her chin on top of the blade. Tell her, think it over, for I can make every day of yours sweet and light if you're ready to breathe fully. Sure, but as much as she can't change you, I doubt you're gonna change her. Some things just aren't meant to be, right? Does Ella need anything? And what do you know about the ruins of the village in the south? He freezes for a good moment and finally takes a deep breath, puts away his tools, and looks you in the eyes. His fingers are moving slowly, as if he's trying to warm them up before playing on a lute. Don't push me onto some of those dark grounds, Leto. I've been stepping on them for years, but I still struggle, please. I'd say you would need to place some traps in an old tunnel. Do I look like someone who crossed through tunnels? He smiles and pats his stomach. You want our friend? He catches everything that doesn't fly or swim. Well, he'd be better than the kid I was thinking of. I look for Ephraim the hunter. He's in the yard just next to the gate, practicing his steps and swings while holding the blunt cudgel. Once you get closer, he nods politely. Do you know of any creatures that live on High Island? How could I, friend? I haven't been there. He suddenly looks to the sky, raises his hand, and starts to tap the top of the wolf's head. But the harpies, they're common on the coast and on open waters. I saw them from Gale Rocks Beach. Rocks and sticks don't fly well when thrown upward, or a bow would be a safer bet. Okay, harpies. That's what I heard too. What sorts of traps would you put in an old tunnel? Depends, he drawls. Got anyone to help you? And start with taking a good look around. Find some sticks, tools, maybe beast tusks this long. He shows a span with his fingers. Or bigger. What's your catch? You mentioned the skeletons, and he scratches the side of his hat, grunting. Then, a bit fast, eh? But something fast, too, but firm, but hitting right away, but camouflage, but... He sees your frown and straightens up. Well, let's say you can find any wood. Put deadfalls where you can gather hard things to drop. Gather any wood. Put deadfalls where you can gather hard things to drop. Maybe above doors and whip traps behind turns and corners, but these take a lot of work. Foothold traps are easier to make, but if the tunnel is rocky... Oh, lazy spirits, just come with me. You take a short walk to the woods and he shows you a few spots with traps for animal feet, made of short slats surrounding camouflage holes, and tells you how to place some larger traps without having trees around. You head back to the village and you repeat his instructions. Okay. Put deadfalls where you can gather hard things to drop, maybe even above doors and whip traps behind turns and corners. You can gather all of those in there. Old Hava have anything? Supplies? Just a fish trap? So asking about the merchants. Our hunters push away the beast, but it's not safe enough for us to keep roaming from here to there on a whim. But you're right, Roadwarden, I'm just a farmer with the past. During the pause that follows, a cold gust of wind ruffles your cloak. It's Foggy, who speaks with travelers and merchants, knows how to price wares and labor. We need both her place and her experience, but you know how these roads are. When we need to resupply, we send a whole expedition with a cart, not a lonely peddler. Okay, farewell. Alright. Now that's settled. Could it go back or wait? It is close to nighttime. Oh, we have to stay here again, don't we? Damn it. Alright, so let's get hit the ground, tripping your sleep. Or they have muddy roads. Time for me to go, I guess. You know what? I will buy something. I'd like to eat. Three meals, pretty good for a coin, if we're being honest. Statue of a woman. The willow twigs are swinging gently, bending the leaves toward the lake. The road is covered with a rustling blanket. The statue stands in all its glory, observing the road and those who use it. Watch myself camp. Setting up a trap. Which, by the way, there's another trap I need to check on. Aha! Set the fish trap again. And we can travel. Foraging grounds. See if we can forage anything. A new food ration. Cabin. Old bridge. Secluded residence. Right, maybe she has something that can help me convince that fisher that it's a bad idea to use that rock. Have you ever heard about High Island? But of course, she says right away, but then leans away and glances at your boots. Though, I didn't pay much attention to the monks' tales, so the monks know about it. She brushes her dark hair with her fingers, asking you to give her a moment. She doesn't share much with you. High Island is the largest island that's somewhat close to the coast, but its huge volcano makes it a worrying sight. It may be covered with green forests and hills, but no tribe aspires to claim it. You may want to ask Foggy. She loves tales of weird places. She's the one that told me about it. You left Opagos during the same time when the village in the south collapsed. Do you know what happened? She opens her mouth, then closes it slowly, piercing you with her gray eyes. I shouldn't share these grim tales with outsiders. Give me nothing and may hurt many northerners. Why does everyone keep saying that? Let's talk about clearing the roads. Clearing the roads? Oh, using your golems. I'll think about it. So many food rations. Let's trade. I don't have enough for a spirit rock. Can you give me anything? Two. Great. I can't make it to Pelt. Abandoned watchtower it is. Campfire spot. Oh, I can cook fish? Cook 3 fish. Takes you a good few minutes before the fire gets started and grows enough for you to cook. In the meantime, prepare the captured creatures. You cut through the stomachs, remove the guts with your fingers, then pierce through the animals with pointed sticks. Keeping them at a safe distance, you roast them slowly until they both look and smell prepared. Okay. It's not too difficult to find the dead trees in the woods, but you take some time to find some pieces that won't force you to use your battle axe. You find tinder beneath the shrubs and some dry branches dropped by the healthy trees. You don't need to warm yourself up for long, so once you're sure you have enough for the basic cooking, you move everything next to the camp. So now I have 3 cooked fish. Only by 1? Alright, I guess. Into the tower. To sleep. It's still not great to sleep in here. Dark skies won't let go. It's another night of rainfall. Never a break, huh? Probably shouldn't have cooked that fish. Alright. Tree was removed, path is clear. This is a spot for a fish trap if I had one. Wash myself. Can I put a dolmen here? Or can I put a rod in a dolmen? Top of the dolmen, maybe? Nope. Can I forage here? Trail connecting to dolmen with the southern crossroads remains hardly usable. For a ride away, spent an hour or so clearing the path. Turns out a few of the plants are already dried out and are not too heavy. You get a bit sweaty, but unless another misfortune happens, the path should stay in pretty good shape. That should help. Crossroads. Aha! Could spend some time placing a bronze tree at the top of the escarpment. You tie the magenta to the signpost so it can graze for a bit. The rock face is smooth and tall, uninviting. You don't have proper tools to support you, and you don't see any good spots where you could rest your hands while climbing. Nah, I don't need to move between the ledges. I just move between the ledges quickly. No, I'll just use a grappling hook. It's probably safer. Tying the rope to the bone hook is easy enough, though you struggle to throw it just right. If it gets stuck between a branch and the stems of a shrub, you pull it for a bit, then jump in place, making sure the bushwood won't break under your weight, then climb to the top slowly, walking on the surface of the wall. As you stand on the grass and look down, the crossroads are indeed not so far below you, but it catches your attention how fragile the bridge between the 2 cracks seem to be. Tie the rod to the bare tree. You knock on the dead plant, and still full of wood, strong. After you put a bit more effort, the rod hugs the trunk, and even your deliberate efforts are enough to make it fall down. Grab my belongings and slide down. Turn to your mouth. See if it's overgrown, but if I spend about an hour foraging for edible plants. Not trusting your surroundings, you have to take magenta with you, repeatedly tethering or releasing it as you make progress with the help of your axe and a long stick. You push aside the barricades of leaves and thorns and prod the ripe plums and sour apples and catch them into a spare-head bag. You could use an extra pair of hands. The berries are much easier to collect, though most of them are poisonous, so you leave them for the birds. After digging out the wild cabbage and carrots, cutting away their inedible parts, you take a few minutes to wash everything in cold water for your supplies. Make sure the fruits won't get squished among my bundles. Took me a while, but I'm finally back. Good old pelt. Armor? Do I need anything from the armor? No. The guards. How many coin do I have? 3. Why not? I'm feeling good about some max throwing. Aha! I knew I was feeling good. That's great. I have 6 coins now. Do you know anything about High Island? She looks at the other guards, but is met with silence. It's just an island, says one of them. No soul swims there no more. It's too green. Too many beasts. Unicorns are herd. Do you know if there are... Did you know there are undead that use light? Kind of. She gives you an unconvinced smile. I know they grow more human-like the older they get. I think they don't need light, they just want it. Like when they put on clothes or take trinkets from those they kill. Right, they do see the more human-like they get. What happens if one of them just never burns? How much are knowledge for wild creatures? 5 dragons. No. About the hunters you wanted. I'm ready to tell you what I learned about Erastos. He hums for a brief melody. If what you're saying is true, I'd say we're better without him. Glance at the others. Here, we ain't going to look after broken hearts. We need someone who can figure out their own shit. And here's what I learned about Cassia. She sounds like no matter her talents or lack thereof, she's got a heartbeat of an attitude. She summarizes your tale and tries to push aside the hair on her forehead. It may be better to spare ourselves the trouble after all. So whom are you going to hire? With 2 terrible choices? I'd rather wait another year. She scoffs and prepares your pouch. Thanks, Leto. You saved us quite a journey, but let me know if you happen to meet someone who could use a risky but good paying job. She counts down 5 rings, then sizes you up and pulls out a few more. Huh, maybe I will find someone. It sounds like you've talent for meeting people. She lets out a chuckle. That's one way to put it. You know, I know who exactly could help you out, but I don't know if she's ready yet. And you won't even get that joke. How many coins do I have? 14. I walk away. Let's enter the inn. Pyros, I heard some tales about you. Cross my arms, written up. Give me back the iron you took from the people of Gale Rocks. He instantly reaches toward his belt, but after taking a glance at the guards, he raises his hands as if trying to calm you down. Oh, come on, Roaster. Without it, I'll have nothing to sell once I get south. Don't try to play me. You stole it long before you lost your belongings. He raises his voice. Aye, but I need it more than those some fishes. He looks at you with contempt and scratches his scared face. Have mercy. Let me keep it and I'll be in your debt. My thinker is heavier than my muscles, but I know how to use my ballista, and I can help you on dangerous trip. This ingot is my only path forward, Roadster. Alright, but if you try to leave the peninsula before I collect your debt, I won't be so kind next time I find you. He sprays you a smirk. You have my word. I'll wait for your call. Okay. Tulia. Nothing. Okay. Innkeeper. Leftovers? Ah, that's fine. I'm pretty full anyway. You heard anything about High Island? I've heard this name somewhere. Let me think. Looks around and picks up a mug and tilts it to peek inside. Alright. It's the savage wilds around the volcano. And I asked the locals what's with the smoke and can be seen from time to time, but I don't know much about the place either. I'd ask some sailors if I were you. Gale Rocks it is. Anything you want to buy? Iron scraps. How many iron scraps do I have? Didn't I collect? Yeah, I have 2 iron scraps. Yeah, forget it. I know who I'm selling that to. Let's talk. You and your group arrived at Peninsula long before The village in the west was ruined. That's right. Glance at your weapon and turns away from you, moving a few jars on the shelf, but without achieving any specific. No, I don't think so. I may be in need of a Roadwarden services, but not of their nosiness. I'm not dropping it so easily. You start and the man lets out an unusual loud chuckle. You notice movement at the entrance, and the man's gestures suddenly get more confident. Is that so? So why can't you figure out what happened to the place by yourself? Destroyed during the wrath of the herds, was pillaged by humans, then destroyed by monsters. It was attacked by beasts and finished off by humans. Humans used monsters to destroy it. Alright. If it was just the wrath of the herds, people would just talk about it. But they don't. Something happened. Something from inside. Pillaged by humans, then destroyed by monsters. Attacked by beasts and finished off by humans. It was either pillaged by humans, raided by humans, or humans used monsters to destroy it. He scoffs. So not only do you not know, you want me to do your entire job and cut a branch on which I sit? I have no interest in changing things as they are. Thank you very much. You ask him what he wants in return, and he runs his fingers through his bluish hair. All of them fancy, just pay me, size you up, considering everything. How about 29 coins? No, that's too much. Let's agree to disagree. You can say you haven't. I want to learn what happened in the village. You could say that you won't help me, but you did just help me. Now, I imagine something happened when people first. Then it was attacked by monsters. Well, I guess we'll find out. I'd rather pay the hunters outside to go handle the goblins. Show me your wares. I'll buy one of these. Glacia's banned. No, I can't give him any information yet. Go to the well, can wash my shell. Go to the steep house. Wash myself in the river. I already washed myself. It's fish trap. Yeah, I'm too late. I figured. Dell. Gossip for a bit into the village. Smile. Don't you think I've done enough for the village to get some free hay? Yeah. Looks at you in silence and smiles back at you, even if only politely. You may be right, Leto. Do not worry about this anymore. Turns away and heads toward the brush that rests on the wooden beam. Issue solved. Finally. Timo, the washwoman. She's at the creek, but takes a break to speak with you, apologizing for her crude appearance. She gasps for air with her hands on her knees, but looks at you directly in the eyes. Hopefully this one will turn out better. I tell her about Paulus from Gale Rocks. Sounds like a worker. Make sure he will not oppose the marriage rites. His village follows the rite. I need his word, he'll leave his spirit behind him. If he agrees, her teeth are yellowish but healthy, he can come and fall. So we'll see how we get along. Well, see you soon. Let's hope that works out. Go see Elpis. Let's acknowledge about High Island. There's a lightning in her blue eyes, and while the other druids give you a suspicious look, they say nothing. I wish I could teach you, but the truth is, she swallows and there was a hint of shame in her voice. I do not know much about that place. There's but one forest speaker who carries this old tale, and 'tis the elder living in the cave in the south. Ask him," with every word she puts more of her weight on her staff, "to do me a favor and teach you what I cannot." Well, we are on the best terms, but we also are on the worst. Buy on a tailor. Ah, that's right. I've gathered quite a bit of spider silk. Would you like to buy it? You show her the wrapped stick, and without asking, she takes one of the shorter threads and starts to stretch it. She nods. I do. What do you want? The dragon rings or a better jacket? You ask her for the details, and she loses more of her patience with every breath. 10 rings for the thread, or give me 2 hours, and I'll put some of it in here. She vaguely points at bits of your gambeson to make it stronger and easier to wear. Yeah, I would like to strengthen my armor. You spend the time brushing and watering magenta, practicing combat moves and stances with your axe, and now my shield, and washing your hands, face, and neck. Near the end of the hour, you return to the tailor and sit down on a stump, relaxing to the sounds of Howler's Creek. She asks you to come closer and points at the spots where the seams are ripped and replaced with spider silk, which is much lighter than the old thread. It'll not get stronger than this unless you cover it with a troll hide or something. Troll hide, you say? Don't I have a hide somewhere here? Oh. I think I showed this. I went to Euducia and couldn't help me. Furs and skins. No, I just got a hair pelt from the creeks. Okay, well. Let's talk about fancy clothes. Can't afford any of those fancy clothes. Your services? That's fine. Alright, good luck. Go to the main square. Invader stall is closed. Innkeeper. Are there any old-time sailors around? I'd like to ask them a few questions. Unless you happen to know about the High Island. All our sailors are old-time sailors. Nay soul here has seen a ship in years. He starts with a chuckle, but then nods toward an elderly man who's resting by a table, rolling an empty mug and mumbling to himself. Try with him. Okay, I need a few rations. 2 filling meals, 1 spoil 2. I get 3 at pelt. I'll save it. Thanks. Old sailor. He doesn't notice your approach until you sit down opposite him. He raises his chin, one of his eyes is brown, while the other is white from blindness. Having only 1 ear, a broken nose, and a constantly open mouth, he looks like a soul at the end of a painful journey. But his voice is more amused than tired. And who fell here on my very own plate? You're the, the kiddo pauses, leaning a bit forward. Nah, I have not seen you before. You come to buy me a strong mug? You need a few breaths to get through his thick accent, additionally distorted by his lack of teeth. You mean ale? Sure, I'll pay the innkeep to serve you. You glance at Eric's, and while he fills up a mug, you reach for your pouch. 1 dragon should be enough for a few rounds. A kind traveler? Hard to find such souls on the wartime. You find it difficult to tell if you see a smile or grimace of pain. It used to be a sign of decency to help each other both on land and at sea. With a gasp, he tries to straighten up and reach for his new drink. Yeah, speaking of sea, any chance you could tell me any stories on any islands? Any chance you ever been around High Island? I hear it's one of the best islands. He wipes his drooling mouth with his sleeve. His clothes are simple, but clean and tidy. Do you not know? He's not allowed to land there. A dangerous place in a hurtful memory. Why hurtful? Long before any of us were born, 'twas a home to an old tribe. One who lived close to land spirits. But as chased and trapped like a hunted boar, and through no fault of their own, they were strong but alone. Could not stop the emperors and the brigands. An old tribe. He tilts his head and narrows his living eye. You know what? You sound like a city folk. Well, Lavin, but through no fault of my own. It's because I am one and I'm proud of it. Lie. Alter my accent slightly. I wonder if this will work. I think I've spent enough time around these people. I'm a traveler. I've got no home. And you think you'll find it on High Island? This weak wheeze carries a hint of amusement. You're looking for treasures, for ghosts. That place eats all souls who touch it. You better travel away from it. He takes a sip and helps himself close the mouth with the mug. You know how to reach out. No, how's Lavin tied to all of this? Have you not heard of the tribe of the Green Mountain? Those guys are involved. Once as strong as our very own howlers, got squashed by the city's corpse pushed all the way to the distant east. Someone younger surely knows the way. Looked around as if an ancient pagan village could be hiding just behind the corner. Well, you will not be let in without a fine gift. Something they lack, no wonder. A sharp blade, bag of spices. I doubt they lack those, especially without green. High Island, sounds like. He notices an angry look for the innkeeper. Aye, do not talk about the Green Mountain. In his screech, recognized ties his discipline. I do not care. He raises his voice, but then has to clear his throat. Okay, the Green Mountain is the High Island. That's what the tribe means. That's where he's gone. Still, I need to get on their island. It's important. You really have no better things to do. Nae lovers to bed with, nae bread to smell, nae meat to drink. Are you bragging to me? What is this? Are you shaming me? He puts his arms on the table and his cheek on top of it. His voice is getting tired, so you lean forward to hear him. Start with this. Reach the island after dusk. From the east. You will not miss it. The volcano has smoking for decades now. And many say it hides the treasures of the old tribes. The island's walls are so tall you cannot climb them, but with the night's high tide you'll reach an old port, hidden behind a waterfall. Do all this, he pauses and wipes his wrinkled ribs. Or pay for a ship in the city. Tallest fortresses, that's what you need. Have you ever been on the island? Raises his head just enough to take another sip of ale. The storm shoved us into the rocks, but we know the stories, so we reached the port and its tunnels. Building a raft took us 2 days, all the logs and vines we had to cut. There were 5 of us at first. 2 lived long enough to hit the sea again, and only I reached the coast. My wife bled out of my arms. The beast took us one by one. His voice gets even weaker. No spirit would hear our pleas in that cursed land. Think about a response while the sailor lowers his head again and closes his eyes. The dead one remains half open. Want my advice? You can't see your nod. The moon and stars can all watch the island. If you want to see anything, take lights with you. Now ask me nothing more. Alright. Apologies for opening the old wound. Thanks for the help. Didn't know that was gonna turn out that way, but I did find out what I need. Alright, since we're here, might as well head to sleep. And just to spite, I was gonna figure out the mystery anyway, but now I really want to spite the innkeeper. Ion. Was it Ion? Aeon? Ion on? Ison. I think it was Ison. I really want to spite Ison.